Hello, and you're watching Damage Reports here on Canoddle Studios for some sort of reason. With you, as always, is Mike and James, two 40-year-old or plus Star Trek geeks who look at the new Star Trek in the 21st century and give you the old, worthless Star Trek geek review of it. Hey, Mike, how you been
Hey
doing?
James, how are you? It's pretty fun how we have to reset our entire premise now that our friends at Canoodle have decided to help us do this show. So for those of you who haven't seen the previous 10 weeks of shows, 13 episodes in total, we went through Star Trek Lower Decks, the CBS All Access Star Trek cartoon show, and gave our thoughts on those. And we also did a three-part, 3-hour extravaganza talking about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, which we thought we'd be done in an hour. We spoke for 3 hours, and I haven't forgiven myself since.
Yeah, no, that was nice. But we were both on the Star Wars one. I thought we were both very respectful.
Yeah,
So
we're not a couple of assholes.
Yeah. Mike is not an asshole. So
you know what's weird? There are people that are on our mutual Facebook feeds who you mention Star Wars Episode 8, and it's almost like they said something about their mother. I cannot fathom how much that movie bothers people.
We talked about it. We don't need to rehash it right now. If we really want to know our feelings.
We need to rehash Star Wars on this very Star Trek podcast.
So it's one of those things. If you're going to try to change the game, you got to present a better game or something as equal. And some people thought that The Last Jedi was, and some people very much thought it wasn't. So I think that's where the disconnect is. That's my most diplomatic
and answer. I think that's where we should stop, just in case we don't want to lose listeners or viewers right now. How should we refer to this, producer over there? Do you want us to say this is a podcast, or what should we say? It's a media show. James, we're a media show now.
Yay! Finally.
Yeah, we're going to get some Comic-Con passes out of this. So,
yeah, totally.
James, we went through 10 episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks, and we kind of came around at the end of it saying, it was okay. I think I liked it more than you did.
It had 1.5 good episodes.
I feel like it had
and
3.
It was 10 episodes long.
I feel like it had 3
or
4.
You're giving it 3. Okay. That's
but
nice.
Now here's where why we're launching this one with our friends here at Canoddle Studios. Canoddle, the studio. This week was the season premiere of Star Trek Discovery. Those of you who haven't listened to our previous episodes, who's everybody who's probably watching this right now, James hadn't seen much of Star Trek Discovery. James, in the last week, how much of Star Trek Discovery did you manage to swallow?
I was able to make 4 episodes. I decided to look up stuff because I don't care about spoilers. And it was an ending of season 2, 2-parter. I was like, I got to watch that. There's something called The Damn Red Queen or whatever. I'll watch that shit. And then one of the other ones. So I watched those, and then I watched the season 3 premiere today.
Okay.
So I have, I think all in all, I've only watched maybe 8 episodes of Discovery. But keep in mind, I think there's only 10 a season, 10 or 14 each
10
season.
10 to 13, I think.
So it's not
but you've also seen every other Star Trek show. We're not going to go over our bona fides again. We both have Star Trek as almost like a sickness since we were 5 years old each.
Yeah, I mean, we said it before. I think you said this, but I agree with this because I didn't even register this one, which was the animated show. I'm probably seeing an episode or 2. The original animated Star Trek show. And I think I watched it as a kid going, oh, wow, it's Star Trek. And then I watched an episode and I was like, I don't like this. So, because I was a kid. So
having watched a couple of episodes of Discovery, not counting the season 3 premiere, what did you think pounding down that 2-part ender for season 2 of Star Trek Discovery?
Well, I did like it. It was a lot better than Picard. It's a par with the original series or Next Generation or Deep Space Nine. Not for me. But I did like stuff in it. The strongest thing this show, from my perspective, not seeing all of it, from my perspective, the strongest thing it has is its characters and the relation to each other. Like everybody seems to want to care. Everybody seems like they want to help. Having said that, the season two-parter finale started with a Galaxy Quest Omega 13 device. They get a time crystal, and she sees into the future, and she sees them all die, and then she uses it, and then she goes back into our time, and she has 13 seconds to make sure that the bad guy doesn't kill them all. And the shot even looked like the bad guy entered the bridge with a gun and shot everybody in front of her in slow-mo. I mean, it's shot for shot, the end of Galaxy Quest. Spoilers from 98, by the way.
Did you read the history of what that time crystal also did in previous episodes?
No.
So to retrieve, you're going to hate this, my friend. To retrieve the time crystal, they needed somebody brave enough to go in and get it. And the bravest person that they know was Captain Christopher Pike, who went and grabbed the crystal. And the keepers of the crystal were like, my friend, you don't want to do this because you're going to see how you die, and there's no changing it. You can leave and be fine, or you can grab that crystal, do your mission, and you're going to find out how you die. So Pike is like, I'm Pike, and grabs the crystal and sees the accident that confines him to a wheelchair from the original series. Oh. And is basically like, I had to do this to save the galaxy, but now I know there's a countdown, and I know exactly how I'm going to end, and I'm going to keep on captaining. So what do you think of that? That was one of the things I was very curious to see what you thought of.
I am okay with that. I like that. That actually makes me like Pike a little more, because Pike is a little too much of, I'm kind of like Captain Kirk light, so which I don't give a shit about. And he is Captain Kirk light. He was Kirk, and then they replaced him and brought in Captain Kirk because the guy didn't test well with audiences. All right. So I don't really care for him as a character. I thought the Abrams movies did as best you could with him, and now he's important for some reason. No, I don't mind that. However, Mike, how do you time travel in the Star Trek universe?
Oh, there's plenty of ways. There's the Guardian of Forever Gateway. There's slingshotting around the sun. There's God, am I missing a big one? There's the chronometric particles
like people
from
that have
contact.
Shown. Yep. There's also making a temporal field that you can go through. There's also we have the Traveler who phases in and out of time.
I haven't really watched Enterprise, and I'm surprised they kind of gave a shout out to Enterprise by mentioning the temporal wars in this episode of Discovery. But keep on. You were saying you had a point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's my problem, is in Star Trek, there's already been established, let's just say 2. There's already been established 2 different ways, and when I say that, there's been 4 or 5, but fuck it, 2 ways of
Gary
time travel.
7 time
now
travel?
We introduce I don't know.
So 6.
Okay.
Matt Frewer's pod from that one episode.
Yeah,
8.
His pod. Yeah, that one episode that he stole from an actual time traveler, and he's just Max Headroom. My life for you. So no, we don't get enough of the Stand references.
So when this ends, you're saying that when the Discovery season ends, we're going to jump right into Damage Reports, a look at Stephen King adaptations on CBS All Access.
Yes, finally, we're getting to stuff. No, so. There are many different ways to time travel in Star Trek. So needing this crystal seemed kind of silly or just plot devicey. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. In Star Trek, a lot of Star Trek is plot devicey. So that's not unheard of. God, the biggest movie until I think Star Trek 8, highest grossing movie, was Star Trek 4, which was a time travel, which was all kinds of plot devicey. They time traveled, and then they cracked the crystals. Now they got to go get stuff to fix the crystals. And they do that same plot is being used in the finale 2-parter, where they've got to charge the time crystal and put a little cage around it, and so that you can carry it onto a flight. And they are going to use that And when they do that, their spore engine, which I don't know enough about the show to even give a shit right now, but they have a spore engine, will be damaged and they'll be vulnerable during a fight, which is dumb and plot devicey, but that's okay because Star Trek can be very dumb and plot devicey. I
So
was okay with that.
the spore drive for everybody who maybe wasn't who didn't watch Discovery, and James, was the weirdest, most controversial thing for the 2 seasons of the show. There was the idea that the Discovery was the first ship that Starfleet developed that had a drive that was able to transport itself on the mycelial network of tardigrades. So there were these tardigrades that had basically subspace capabilities in space, and the drive on the Discovery basically event horizoned. It folded space, so you didn't travel. The galaxy folded around you, and you ended up somewhere else. So that was everyone was like, "What are you doing? You're a prequel, and you're adding a brand new layer of things that shouldn't exist yet."
Watched 2 episodes of season 1, and when they got to they were like walking around shooting Klingons, and then they were like end hologram, and they were on a holodeck. They were on I was just like I was like, well, I'm not watching this pile of shit, because it's like, why stop there? Why not give Lincoln a holodeck? Like, I'm going to see me at the theater now. Yeah. I know how I die. It's like, if you're not gonna give a shit about the things that came in order, then why are you doing a prequel show? And some of us geeks, I know I'm in a small group here, hate prequels. You want to know why I hate prequels, Mikey?
It's because and I have something to add as soon as you're done.
The ending. We know the ending. There are no stakes when you have a prequel. It's like if I did a prequel to Back to the Future right now, you know how it's going to end? Doc Brown's going to figure out time travel. Yeah. If I do a prequel to Dracula, you know how it's going to end? Dracula's going to be in his castle waiting for Renfield. It's like every prequel, if you know the story, you know how it ends. So who gives a shit about your stupid fucking prequel? So doing an entire series of like, hey, let's do fucking 8 seasons of a prequel. We just did that with Enterprise. Did anybody like it? Did anybody give a fuck? I'm one of the few geeks that's like, oh, it's got an episode or 2 that's okay. Stop it with the prequels. Stop it with the prequels. So
there's the problem that everyone was so mad that you saw how season 2 ended, where basically everyone's being all coy and is like, I've never heard of Discovery, and it's like, fuck you. Like, you just made us watch 2 seasons of this. Now you're gonna say it wasn't a prequel because nobody is ever gonna talk about this. So that's another thing for hardcore Star Trek fans that I'm curious about what you think. You like the Pike reveal, and that's something I danced around before. When we talked about how Pike has its own spinoff, Pike, Number One, and Spock are going to have their own spinoff on the Enterprise. They said that's going to be more of like an episodic, old school Star Trek episode of the week. They're going to do stuff very anthological. But they've also said Pike has this knowledge that eventually he's going to be in that accident at the Academy. So the story thread is that Pike knows he has a countdown, and I'm like, I don't want that. So that was controversial. You didn't mind it,
but okay. But here's the thing: like, I'm okay with them trying new things with an old idea.
Oh, so am I, especially with this, because we don't know who Pike is. We know the archetype of Pike, and you said that you know him from the movies. But I'm fine with that on here. Here's where a lot of Star Trek fans had problems with Discovery, and I want to see what you think as we go through this. So another problem. Michael Burnham, the lieutenant commander who's the main character of Discovery, is Spock's half-sister. How do you feel about that?
See, I found that out in the last episode, watching the end of season 2, because somebody who greatly resembled Spock's parents kept like walking around with her. And I was like, so it's either one of two things. Either she's Spock's half-sister, which, you know, when we bring in Spock's siblings, that's when it gets good. Or 2, she has the exact same backstory as Spock, which I couldn't decide which would be a dumber reveal. You know, like if they gave her the exact same parentage as Spock, or if she's Spock's long-lost sister, who he's never talked about. Fuck it, he doesn't talk about his brother.
Yeah, well, it's even worse than that. So she was the last survivor, the only survivor of an attack on some outpost that her parents were on. And Sarek found her. Sarek took her home like a puppy, and she and Amanda raised her. And she was older than Spock. Spock really liked her and she didn't like Spock, so she was mean to Spock, and that's why they had the big like sibling rivalry. But because of that, this show does not mention Cybok at all. How do you feel
Nice.
about just not mentioning him?
I mean, he can be our Tom Bombadil of the fucking of Star Trek, where it's like maybe they do talk about him, not in any scenes we're watching. Yeah. So I'm okay with that. You don't. The point of bringing something back up is either only serves two purposes. Either one, it's fan service, and that's the biggest. That's what it is fan service. Or two, dare I suggest it, that there is still gold in that vein to mine. Like, you would bring up the half-brother if it was like, wow, wouldn't it be great if Spock had to do blank, 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 but had to go through his half-brother? You should only bring those things up if it's going to serve those two purposes.
Well,
is it fan service, or is there a story to be had?
See, I find that interesting now because we've discussed this about Picard and why we liked and didn't like Picard. We have issues with the fact that they didn't mention Lal and Lore, but you're saying you're fine with that in this instance and do you think that's because you hate Cybok? Or
well, no. Well, I think Picard's different. You said there are things we like and dislike about Picard. I don't know that there was anything I liked about Picard.
Patrick Stewart's alive.
Yeah, he's alive, and he could be doing so much more with his time. So has he tried sitting? Because that would be a better use of his fucking time. Rather than pissing on part of his legacy. It's like Ian McKellen and Cats. So it's same level. So the reason why is I think it's a disservice in that is there was a mystery around who is this artificial being that could be an offspring of Data. Now, I haven't watched all of Discovery. If she shows up and they're like, who is this half-sibling of Spock? Has there ever been a half-sibling of Spock? What is the secret of the half-sibling of Spock? If it was a big plot point, yeah, then you need to mention him. You need to mention him because it's important, because you're establishing this as a major plot point. They did not do that in Picard. I mean, they brought up B4, so that's something, but that just means you saw Nemesis, fucko. So, like, you did not go into the show at all. You just watched one of the movies because it was the last one with Picard in it.
Yeah. And less said about that.
Anyhow, yeah. So, jumping into this, but I will say this: I did like stuff from the season finale of Star Trek Discovery, the two-parter. There was a lot of the thing I liked most, I think, was the characters felt thought out, and the actors playing them were playing them with a certain a mixture of mean-spirited and respect to each other. So, like, there's a great scene where they're like making stuff in engineering for her suit to time travel. And they're like, who the fuck made this? Take this back over there. Oh, just get out of my way. Let me, I told you they got to be 0.2%. You don't want, what do you want her to blow up? And then they'll have a scene where they're all just sitting around talking about how much they might miss each other if something bad happens. Having said that, there's like, it's a two-parter season finale, and there's like, I quit counting after like 5, but there's like 5 to 10 speeches.
I skimmed through it after you and I had that talk or that comment, and you're not wrong. Everyone had something to say.
Everybody had a speech, and I was like, it's like, I get Picard and Next Generation that now, and even Kirk is known for like having those moments where they gave a speech, but we didn't have an episode where Kirk gave 20 speeches. Like, we didn't have an episode where everybody on Next Generation gave a speech on their feelings on A Measure of a Man, so it felt like too much, and the speeches didn't say much, So it was more, and it wasn't exactly quality. Again, having said that, we have a show that's a prequel. I don't like prequels. We have a show that was trying to really be flashy and eye candy and didn't focus much on writing. That's not going to be something that pulls me in. And we have a show where every camera shot was a swooshy camera show. It was this the entire time.
Yeah.
It's just this. Like, are we recording me doing this? This is I'm on Discovery. I'm on the Discovery ship
You
now.
need to start it
And so
upside
for me,
down
it was,
and like slowly go back to a normal orientation.
But it was like, that's a cool shot every now and again, but you're doing that shot every couple of seconds. And so it just got kind of ridiculous to me. So I thought the beginning of season 3 is their smartest move. So now that we've talked about our back, let's jump into season 3, episode 1 of Discovery. Mike, would you mind giving us a little bit of a rundown of the episode?
I can't. There was nothing memorable about it. So, as James had said, the last season 2, ends with Michael Burnham, the main character, using a suit of armor to time travel 930 years into the future to make sure that this forbidden knowledge that was in Discovery's time no longer existed. Which I thought was an innovative idea. If this is the most dangerous information here, let's get it so far away from now that it won't be a problem. So they traveled 930 years into the future, Discovery right behind her, covering her from all the missiles that the bad guys were shooting at her. And now she has landed on this strange planet. She's clipped a strange ship that is on the run from that is being pursued by an aggressive species. And she crash lands on a planet. She can't get a hold of Discovery, so she goes and she finds the pilot she just downed. And they have a disagreement. He's telling her, you don't belong here. I'm not going to help you. But then they get a begrudging respect for each other. And he says, you know, we're going to go. And since you clearly have antique stuff on you that's going to be worth money, we will take you to the bazaar on this planet somehow and help you contact your ship and make some money by selling those antiques. And you'll be on our way. When he gets there, he double crosses her. She gets arrested. And then he gets double-crossed again, and then she escapes. I'm sorry that this is so ramshackle. It was a weird episode.
No, that's the episode. That is the episode is ramshackle.
They
so
escape,
right,
they get back. They both decide, hey, you know what, we're the same, you and I, and decide to team up, and he's going to help her find the Discovery by taking her to where the episode gets interesting for me. Interesting but bittersweet in that Star Wars trilogy or Star Wars sequel trilogy kind of way. He takes her to one of the last Federation outposts. The Federation has been gone for at least 150 years because an event happened called the Burn that destroyed all dilithium. It made dilithium completely unstable and destroyed almost every ship that used it. And Starfleet and the Federation fell apart because of it. So now it's just a wild space where people are scavenging for dilithium, and one loyal man is at the Starfleet outpost who has been waiting for contact from a Starfleet ship. He considers Burnham to be that signal and says, the greatest honor would be if you, a Starfleet person, commissions me, and now I will also be part of Starfleet, and I will help you find your ship. And that's pretty much where it ends. Here's where I will go on this. I said it with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and I'll say it with this. I don't need to see the end of something heroic. I don't need to see Han Solo die. I don't need to see Luke Skywalker die. I didn't really need to see a future so far ahead that the Federation has collapsed, because that's just depressing to me. And right off the bat, I'm just like, I don't know if this is the show I want. But at the same time, we've been arguing, why don't you just do a show that is a sequel that's in the future? And hey, they did that times 10. We're 930 years removed from everything we've seen before, and it's an interesting new universe. But here's the problem that I had with it. We're all over the place with our likes and dislikes. You said clearly what you liked about the season 2 finale of Discovery was that a strong cast of characters, good actors, and good rapport. They are not in this episode. This episode was the Michael Burnham episode, which a lot of Discovery has been, and I didn't want that. Do a 2-part finale or premiere so I can see Burnham and I can also see the crew. But I don't want to watch a show. I wouldn't watch Voyager if it was just Janeway.
Just Janeway.
I wouldn't do that. And that's why I feel kind of bummed out. And if I were some of the actors on the show, I'd be like, that's some bullshit. Like, where are we? At least you put our name in the main credits.
I think I'm okay with it so long as it serves a purpose. We need to because the camaraderie of the crew is so close. We need to see our characters isolated and alone every now and again. So I'm actually okay with that. Um, okay, I'm gonna say my initial feelings, and yeah, we normally do the good and then the bad. I think we're just gonna give our feelings on this whole episode. We'll give it a rating at the end because it's a little madness. I think the start of this episode is the smartest idea you can do with a show like Discovery that takes place before the original series. Your tech on the ship is better than the original series and sometimes better than Star Trek Next Generation. Your uniforms and everything going on is better because you want to move forward. You could do a show that's retro that has cardboard sets and a couple of Christmas lights, but you don't want that. You want to show that you're spending money on this show and you want to get a modern audience to be attracted to it. Then you got to go forward. You don't do a prequel. You're doing a prequel because we know Spock in the Enterprise and maybe get to see a de-aged CGI Captain Kirk with William Shatner's modern voice or some shit.
Don't tempt him.
You might laugh at that shit, but I guarantee you that was in the works
So for
somewhere,
the Pike spin-off, the
still.
Strange New World spin-off, they've heavily alluded to the fact that we're going to see Captain Kirk as an ensign throughout the series.
Yeah. A de-age, I guarantee you it'll be a de-age Captain Kirk, and they will get William Shatner to show up and do his voice. And everybody will love it! It's dumb. So, so shooting them 900 years into the future, she gets thrown to the future. She hits a ship. Her suit has to reboot. It's a lot of action. It's kind of like J.J. Abrams doing Star Trek action, but I liked it. I like that we're going forward. We're going past it. The Federation is dead and destroyed. I can only assume that Picard himself destroyed it. I know they said it was crystals. I have a conspiracy theory about this.
I have a conspiracy theory that we'll say at the end for our predictions.
Oh, okay, because I think Picard snuck in. He's like, I'm not done ruining Starfleet, and he broke everybody's crystals, and that's why the ships don't work. So it's all Picard's fault. So he's like, ha ha ha, take that, stupid Data. I never even liked you. So
your Patrick Stewart impression still mwah.
Spot on. I'm asked to do it at parties. I really liked it. I liked the opening. I liked where we were going with it. I think that's a smart way to go into the far future. And this is, they rip off all the stuff I've seen so far is ripped off from other things. Rip off the Postman. You're going to go in the far future. Nobody's heard of Starfleet anymore. It used to be this thing. And she's still part of Starfleet. And she'll bring it back. And then it'll inspire hope.
But hide
and
that
change,
Starfleet Delta.
And we can just have
even though we're so far removed from it, people are going to say, you shouldn't be wearing that.
Yeah. And the little guy waiting out in Starfleet at the broken Starfleet ship that wakes up each morning and brushes his teeth, cleans himself, and makes a cup of Earl Grey tea, I'm sure, and then sits down and waits, has a mystery box. And I was like, oh, there's a mystery box. He's waiting for something to happen. He's just waiting for somebody. And the payoff to that was so stupid I laughed out loud. It was so stupid I laughed out loud. But let's get into so that's what I liked. I liked that it was going into the future. I liked that a character is separated from the crew that they want to be with. So there is a drive and there is a mystery. Where am I? What's happened? What's going on? There's exposition to be had and things to catch up. And there's a lot of, now we have so much opportunity to grow because we're so far in the future. It's Voyager. One of the best things about Voyager was they were so far outside of known space that anything they run into, they can explain away. Voyager was kind of the antithesis of a Deep Space Nine, where it's like Deep Space Nine, we're going to sit here and here's where we are. We're just going to go so far out that anything we bring in, there's a whole section of galaxy that just talking rocks, and they have their own factions and they hate granite. You can do whatever you want because you're so far outside. And so going so far into the future, now you can introduce all these different sort of sci-fi things to it. So I'm for
Okay.
it. I hope I hope it leads to something. And with that, that is the last thing I liked about
Well,
this
let's
episode.
bridge that a little then to what I disliked. Uh, we just removed ourselves so far from the future into the future so that we have new things. What do we have? Orions, Andorians, a Morn, a Tellarite. It's like, all right, so we're just gonna do the same five paint our
Yeah.
faces aliens.
Well, those aliens are the sexiest ones, so they're obviously the ones breeding, Mike. So they got blue skin, they got antennas. Come on.
As much as this show, I laughed at the credits because the show shot in Iceland for a lot of the exteriors for Burnham and Book.
Very pretty. I would say that the locations. I thought it was composition
So
shots.
did I. I thought it was like some
Because
quarry with like some special effects.
yeah.
But you do that and you
Mhm.
spend all that money by taking these people to Iceland, and then you have this swap meet, this alien swap meet that literally looked like it was shot in a library hallway, and you had to just walk on this narrow path and a white background. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing? You do this establishing shot of this giant futuristic Jetsons-like city, and then your entire set is like a walkway where you have this phaser fight that everyone's like fucking around, slapping each other's asses with like a bouncy gun and like stunning each other, and then out of nowhere they're vaporizing each other, and Burnham has to kill like 10
Uh,
people.
You know, I'm willing to forgive that a little bit because Star Trek, you know, many a times it's like, oh, we've got to go to this forbidden planet, and then cut to the Star Wars cantina, but poorly dressed, you know, with a lot of smoke, and it's like so a low budget, shitty set. I was actually with the aliens. I was happy that I was looking at makeup. They had just like the Doug Jones character. The Doug Jones character I loved because I was like, that is an actor in a great big makeup prosthetic and performing. So she hits a ship. She can hit any ship. She can hit a ship full of space nuns. She could hit a ship full of porgs from Star Wars. She can hit a ship full of anything. And they have her hit a ship of a space smuggler who's wanted by a space gangster for stealing a load. And I was instantly like, oh my God, that's the dumbest shit ever.
And
so they gave him.
he might use the Force. They don't explain what
I
it
use
is.
the Force. He's got a furry companion, and he stole Dash Rendar's ship. So I was like, Jesus, this is just a rip-off Star Wars. Like, and especially since I've only seen like 6 or 8 episodes of this show, and I've already caught like, oh, hey, that's Galaxy Quest, that's this, and then to blatantly steal Han Solo from Star Wars and put it in this was just pathetic. So it was just like sad. Where
I
it's
almost
like,
couldn't
okay.
believe that whole aspect of this character named Book, and even the name wasn't the priest in Firefly named Book.
God, it's been too long.
But he conjures up. He like calms these creatures down, and his head starts glowing a little, and then he prays, and a plant grows. And
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna explain it, but I didn't need space magic. I don't need the Force in Star Trek.
You do if you're trying to make it into Star Wars, which is what they're doing. And then he rubbed it in her cut, and I was like,
yeah, he
don't
did.
you don't well, there's that. But don't you still have a tricorder?
No, she sold it. Remember, or like it got taken at the swap meet. I don't.
I thought she got it back. I thought he was trying to sell it, and the person said no and gave it back to him. So I thought she still had it.
Yep, Dariel Book was Shepherd Book on Firefly. Instead of
There you go.
doing my own research now, we actually have our pal, the producer, Jesse, being able to do that. And I do want to say this. You said something earlier. I'm going to get drops for him to put in, and hopefully they'll be able to fit on these shows. But there are these very iconic, to me, Star Trek lines and moments from the movies that would work. So when you say, I liked some of it, you can do that clip of Worf from First Contact where he goes, some. So we'll have that. We'll have these stupid drops because I want to make this as complicated and as video worthy as possible. So anything that you have, James, let's find some more complicated shit to throw at this.
Oh, great. So,
But it's no longer on our plate.
all right. So that's fair to them. So, yeah, and then so she crashes into it. They go to the bazaar. He double crosses her. Oh, smugglers. Maybe he doesn't care. Wait, at the end, he's gonna care. Like, oh my God, Han. So
not only does he care at the end, but it's like they have this connection where she's like,
no, they don't.
You were saving somebody. He's like, yeah, it was. And it's like, come
it was,
on.
Bro. It's fucking horrible. They spray her with truth serum.
Yeah, they do.
Which gets her high.
That was so annoying.
Derp, 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 derp. And I was like, that's good writing right there. Then, so after that painful 5 minutes of watching an actor pretend to be high, when you're high, you're goofy and you're laughing. And I was like, it is Hollywood, right? You guys know what drug, I assume, I lived there for a while. You guys have drugs. I know you have drugs. Try them and recreate that experience.
Talk to Doug Jones. You think that man has never done every drug?
There you go. And so we have her doing that. Then they meet back up with the Jabba the Hutt, who looks like he's dressed like the Vulture, but he kind of looks like one of the goblins from Lord of the Rings. And he's got a gun, and he is like, "Let me kill him. He stole me Largo." And they're like, "No, you can't kill him." And then for no reason, go back and rewatch the episode because I rewound it because I laughed out loud. He goes, "Then let me kill her." Oh. For no fucking reason. He doesn't know her. He's never seen her. Now he just wants to kill her. That could be the love of your life, Falcon guy. Like, what are you doing? She could have the map to Curly's gold if you follow her and you just want to kill her. Why do they do that? Because now these two characters are together. See? Because they have to run away together. Oh my God, is that bad?
I thought you were going to point out for no reason, because I rewound it too, the reveal of the cargo of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Close your eyes. For no reason?
We had Raiders of the Lost Ark. We had the cargo was a giant monster that would eat all the villains that are around him. That's, what is it? The Force Awakens.
Technically, the Ark also.
Yeah, and the Ark as well.
God is a monster from space.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll melt you if you fucking look at him. So Christians, think about it. So get out of that relationship.
You don't have any Christian shows on Canoodle, do you? Okay, we're good. We're not going to offend any
I think we should start one. I think we should start the Canoodle Christian talk show. So, yeah, no. And then they have him fly away in his Dash Rendar ship with his
Until you said the Dash Rendar ship, I didn't realize it does that whole curve thing like the Outrider, and it's like, yeah, they stole everything.
They stole everything in this episode and parts of last episode. And so it's just like, and it's okay. Science fiction stuff is kind of the old chopped up and brought to us again. Mm-hmm. There isn't an idea on Rick and Morty that hasn't been done in 8,000 different science fiction stories. It's how you redo it. All right. I still had a good time watching The Force Awakens. I know it's a New Hope. So, but you took it and you made it new. And that's okay. And that probably is writing,
But I think that's my problem. I don't think I've never identified Star Trek as being that kind of show. It got halfway through this episode and I was like, oh, this is just a serialized storyline again. This isn't going to be the Discovery searching the future. This is going to be the Discovery trying to figure out what the burn was and how it happened. And I don't want that. I want a show that apparently the Captain Pike show is going to be, Strange New Worlds, where it's like we're out there exploring and doing stuff, but the problem with that for you is that it's going to be a prequel.
Yep. And I mean, it's so if it's a prequel and the Pike show is if something grandiose is found from it, then how did it fit into the rest of the universe?
Yeah.
So if nothing's grandiose, then I'm just watching a bunch of shit that didn't matter before the Enterprise. And
although we might have a season-long arc trying to figure out where Cybok is.
Yeah.
Don't be too excited.
Yeah, I know a little bit. So, He's sitting there. He's out the wrong side of the galaxy. Yeah. Then we end this episode with them making it to the broken Starfleet. It's been destroyed, and you can see like Picard sneaking away, going, "Ah, I destroyed it all!" They're like, "My God, that's a good Patrick Stewart." He gets away in his spaceship.
No one said that.
What?
Sorry, man.
Oh, damn it! And we see the guy from the beginning, and he is like, "You're Starfleet. I'm not Starfleet, but my father's father's father was Starfleet. And I've been waiting for you all this time. I've been waiting for anybody." And he pulls up the mystery box, and I was like, oh, shit. And he's like, "In here is a Starfleet flag. Would you hang it on the wall?" And I laughed out loud. Because that is the dumbest fucking reveal I have ever seen in my life.
I will counter that.
No. Like, the village, not as dumb now. Like, every M. Night Shyamalan twist, so much better.
You're telling me you're not intrigued by the idea that the UFP flag now only has like 5 stars instead of like dozens of stars, like representing the planets?
It's hard to count the stars when you're laughing that hard. Like, you're a joke, your father's a joke, your father's a joke. You've been waiting around for somebody to show up and put a flag on the wall. What should have been in the box? You know what should have been in the box? Some device that would fix everything. Some device that'll find Luke in the center of the galaxy. Something that would be worth our time. Something that would be...
It would have been great if he lifted the flag and a note fell out and it was like, "Son, just hang it up. It's a fucking flag."
So, son, don't waste your life the way I did and your grandfather did. Oh my God, was that stupid?
That fucking loser.
What a fucking moron. Lieutenant moron. So,
he wasn't even a lieutenant. He wasn't commissioned. He was just fucking chief moron.
Ensign moron. So,
acting ensign moron. Because he wasn't commissioned. Oh my God.
Any number of things. Because they had the one guy from the end of season 2 that was like, "I won't be going with you because I got a job offer on CW."
Do you know that dude's story?
No, I don't. I just saw somebody didn't go. And so what you do is that guy developed the ultimate sucka-mucka-ducka and then left it, and then the guy's father kept it. That's how you get an interesting MacGuffin into this world. That he invented the Skakadikadurk, and the Skakadikadurk is going to save everybody.
I think it's hilarious that you don't know who that guy was that didn't go with him into the future. He is Ash Tyler. He is a Starfleet character who was captured by the Klingons and tortured. And then they rescued him and brought him back. And then you find out that he's actually the Emperor of the Klingon Empire, who has been surgically altered to look like Lieutenant Ash Tyler. And he's there to destroy the Discovery and her crew. It was the stupidest reveal. And like, the bizarre thing was they did this whole meta thing where he had a fake name in the opening credits, and people were like, "This actor doesn't exist," but he played this Klingon. And then this guy shows up a few episodes later, and everyone's like, "He looks exactly like that Klingon." And it was the stupidest mystery that you could have ever thought of. But the reason he couldn't go into the future is because he had to go back and rule the Klingon Empire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Prequels.
Yay! Yeah, it's no, I don't know, but that guy should have left the Kadunk, and they could have got it in the future.
It's almost like it would have made sense.
Something. Like, you got to give it something. It's got to be something in there. So your MacGuffin can't be the flag. And so it's the saddest thing ever. Anyhow,
I'd be pissed if I was like 1,000 years in the future, and a guy is like, "You are here. You can finally do your destiny of hanging this curtain." Right?
Can you imagine if the knight in Last Crusade pulled that shit? Like, "Oh, thank God you're here. I don't have the cup of Christ, but which looks better on me?" I can pull up a couple of shit.
I've redesigned my tunic.
Is blue me? So yeah, that's like it made me laugh out loud. That was the dumbest reveal I've seen in a while.
So that's how this
So
episode ends. This episode ends with Burnham 930 years in the future. They give this, and here's where my crazy theory of the week is going to go. They give this slight note about you came out of the wormhole first. So Voyager, Discovery could either be further in the future or in the past or who knows where. But here's the problem I think is going to happen. Obviously, it's going to be like there a week later or the show wouldn't be happening. But it's insulting. It's dumb that she's like, we're going to go find the ship. How do you find that ship? Why don't you go back to where the wormhole is? But here's my crazy theory of the week, and it'll change as we go along. I don't remember her telling Book what her name was. Oh, no, she said it at the end. She said Lieutenant Michael Burnham. Mm-hmm. I think it's convenient that there's a disaster called the Burn, and her name is Burnham. And I'm worried that, like, her not being in the timeline or her ancestors not, or her descendants not being there caused this accident, and that this season is going to be, we have to get back 930 years to the past to save the future. And I would be so disappointed. It could
be an environmental thing. It could be like using Warp 9. You know, maybe she flew by a timeline and her suit caused it to fuck up. I'm okay. Just give me something. Don't give me a flag. Don't give me rip-offs from Star Wars. Give me something. It would be great if it was sci-fi or if it had something to do with talking about social injustices or political sort of statements, as great Star Trek is, as great science fiction is. And this didn't have any of that. Nothing I've seen in Discovery has any of that. Again, what I will say, I like that it seems like a very diverse cast, and it seems like a cast that likes each other. Like the characters play off each other well. Even the poorly written, there's like in the final episode, there's like a badass lady from the mirror universe. I'm from the mirror universe. Yeah. And then Pike does the cheesiest, what mirror universe? Winky dinky dink. He does that, and that's my Pike, by the way.
But that's the problem I have with Pike, where Pike is now like the most like powerful character in the Star Trek mythos now. He knows where he's going to die, so he can do anything balls out. He knows the mirror universe existed when no one should have known about it by then. It's this bizarre set of circumstances that they're putting on this character that, for better or worse, was just a dude.
Yeah, he was a dude that was not cutting the mustard for the people watching early Star Trek. So they're like, get us that pretty boy James T. Kirk in here.
Get us that Twilight Zone boy.
Yeah, I want to see him. He's got gremlins on that plane. I love it. So,
but sir, he's afraid at 20,000 feet. I don't care.
I don't give a shit. So get him, put him in space.
I'm aware anybody who wants to talk shit that it wasn't called afraid at 20,000 feet. My comment was, they were like, we can't hire him. He was afraid of being on an airplane, and he'll be on a starship. That was the joke. I just don't want hate mail.
Well, I also think Nick of Time was the name of the other one. So, what's up now, suckers? Anyhow, so that was the episode. That is Star Trek Discovery, Season 3, Episode 1 opener. Mike, using our normal rating system, how would you rate?
I'm excited because I want to get video for this rating system that'll play as we rate it. But our rating system, for those of you who haven't watched an episode before, we rank these episodes blank out of 5 Jalads, or blank Darmoks out of 5 Jalads. So I give this episode 2 Darmoks out of 5 Jalads. I give this episode Devanani Ral, the swarthy outlaw Beta Z, comes to the ship.
Nice.
It was just basic, and
I see. I'm going to go a little different, but I have the exact same score. I'm going to give it 2 Darmoks out of 5 Jalads. I am going to say that this is the writing for Data's emotion chip from Generations.
Oh God, yeah, especially that truth serum.
Because here's the thing: all of this stuff could have been really good fun or really good Star Trek. You know, a sentient being getting emotion for the first time, and what does that mean? is there's a huge river there that you can really pull stuff from, and you guys decided to do what they did, where he walks around with the tricorder talking and cracks jokes about drinking booze. So this is what that was. Where I think this is a great setup, but what was executed was really poor. So.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what the season 2 and season 3 premieres were of Next Generation, because after season 3, it's always the second part of a cliffhanger. But I was trying to think, like, okay, this could have been the beginning of season 3, but I don't remember what that episode was. Was that the episode where it was the scientist visiting and his experiment fucked up and Wesley was sad, but then they like rallied and got the experiment back to running? And the scientist was the boss from Scrubs. Do you remember that?
No, I don't, but I love that description. I love that. Then Wesley got sad.
Wesley got sad.
Wesley.
If only I could find out what the season 3 premiere of Star Trek: The Next Generation was somehow. The same way I found out what Shepherd book was named Shepherd book. If only I could find out what the season 3 premiere of Star Trek.
If you got a Blockbuster, you could go buy the VHSs that have 2 episodes on them or rent them. You should have
seen Jesse's face right now. As lifelong friends, well, 15, 20-year-long friends, the 3 of us. He had the sweetest, most innocent face of like, oh. Season 3 premiere of Star Trek: The Next Generation was... click on that one. Let's scroll down to episodes. It had the green cover on the Blu-ray. Gates McFadden had returned. It was the introduction of Reginald Barkley. Production, writing, cast and crew, episodes. Thank you so much. Yes! Nanites escape Wesley Crusher's lab and form a collective intelligence threatening the Enterprise. It's that episode. So yeah, right. I would say that my God, season 3 of Discovery was very much like season 3's premiere of Next Generation. A very inconsequential piece of crap episode.
And I want to say that we've said it a couple of times on our show, and I'll say it here for anybody watching, because I get shit all the time from young Star Trek geeks. They're like, you old-timer or middle-aged Star Trek, you just hate everything new. Hey, we hated the old stuff too. Yeah. But there was good stuff in it. So there is no Star Trek show that is the Holy Grail, that is Next Generation for me, and I think also for you, is probably the highest, and that's only because they hit so many things right.
Yeah.
But they have so many. There's like 2 different episodes that are just about everybody trying to fuck each other. Literally 2, not 1. They're like, hey, we should revisit the fucking plot. So, and then there's a whole nother episode about it. So, yeah. Is there bad episodes in every Star Trek show? Yes, there is. But I think this is a smart move. I still, as bad as this was, this is a smart move to move it far into the future. Everything's been gone, and then she's gonna. Other than Postman, what other storyline is that a ripoff of, where something's disappeared from the world and then you bring it back?
Oh, God, I don't know. Like, that's what bothered me. It felt so derivative of so many things that we've all seen before, but that's what bugged me. It was too derivative and not enough Star Trek. But yeah, very much Postman. Very much any other sci-fi that isn't this. So I'm hoping.
I guess a little bit else. Mad Max, something like that. Yeah, it's like but that's what it feels like. Which, again, so much science fiction is the same stuff over and over again. It's how you tell it.
Here's the problem that I'm wondering though. Do you think that they're going to go political and say that the Federation and its collapse is an allegory for America, where we are now? And that eventually we're going to be bringing back the goodness because America is back?
I think there's nothing wrong with that plot line, so long as you write it well. So long as...
then we're in trouble.
Yeah, I know. I know. Get those Picard writers out of here. So, I don't think that's a bad way to go. But that is what people are experiencing right now. We've talked about on another episode. What's the episode with the white creatures and the black creature?
I can't even think of the name of that one. But yeah, the Frank Gorshin, very ham-handed but very efficient. The character split down the middle, black on one side, white on the other side, and he hates the other aliens because they're the opposite. They're white on one side and black on the other side. So
and that came out during the battle for equality in the United States. And Leonard Nimoy's got a great interview where he's like, fans love that episode and it sucks.
I'm being told that it was Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, the 15th episode of the 3rd season of the original Star Trek. Thank you very much, number one.
All right. So, yeah, it was that was the people love that episode because it was obviously talking very, not hidden at all, about race, and it was really hammering over the head. And the people on the show were like, this is poorly written. We get what you're saying, but you could have written a better episode. So I'm okay with doing something political or doing something that definitely holds a mirror to society.
James, Jesse, I'm very sorry to do this. Star Trek is very well known for having one of the first interracial kisses with Captain Kirk and Uhura. That Frank Gorshin character was half black and half white. Do you think there's a deleted scene of him jerking off, and it was the first time a white man jerked off a black man on TV?
But he's crying while he did it, so it's.
Do you think his dick was black on one side and white on the other side? Do you think Gorshin was that method that he was like, "Where's the rest of my makeup?" And they're like, "No, you're done." He was like,
Do the cock.
Can you imagine Frank Gorshin going like, "Do the cock"?
Your Frank Gorshin's even better than my Picard.
We're gonna go on the road after when roads open up again.
So, hey there, folks.
I can't make these jokes anymore about when things get back to normal because my movie theater opens tomorrow with 3 movies I've heard of, 4 old movies, and 6 movies that look like someone made them up last week and shot them.
Nice.
I can't wait to tell you about some of these movies, man.
I think
War with Grandpa. We have War with Grandpa.
Go with Grandpa.
You ever heard about War with Grandpa?
Oh, War with Grandpa. I heard Go with Grandpa.
Oh, no.
And it's just a movie
starring
of a
Frank
kid
Gorshin.
following an old person. So Go with Grandpa.
War with Grandpa is Robert De Niro moving in with his daughter and her son, his grandson, and they cohabitate. Well, he takes the son's room, and the son has to move into the attic. And so him and his friends decide to give De Niro a heart attack, find some way to get him to leave. But the cast on this thing, man, De Niro's friends are Christopher Walken and Cheech Marin. His love interest is Jane Seymour. His daughter is Uma Thurman. So he's gone from Mad Dog and Glory and boning her to him being his daughter in this. Like, it is wild. We have a movie called, you've heard of Unhinged with Liam Neeson, the road rage movie. So we have that. Yeah. We have The Honest Thief. You know it's quality because it's an hour and 30 minutes long, and it's Liam Neeson basically doing another Taken for cheap.
Can you do a Liam Neeson for us?
Can I do a Liam Neeson for? What was that?
Yeah, I knew it. I know. So,
do you like those midichlorians? I'm Darkman.
I'm Darkman. So take the fucking elephant.
I could actually, because I listened to that interview, I could probably I've done my quota for racism on this episode, so I don't want to do that thing about killing a black bastard. So we have The Honest Thief. We don't have that one. I think that one's the local theater that has that. Tenet, which people are loving. New Mutants is finally out in Bakersfield starting tomorrow. Coco, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Lost Boys, if you're here in Bakersfield. Holy cow. I didn't know we were playing The Exorcist. But yeah, it's some wild stuff. So if you like movies, watch your Blu-rays.
Stay at home. Stay at home and be safe.
I'm going to get in so much trouble. Someone's going to see one of these episodes and be like...
No, I'm very excited. I think your opening will go as well as UK's and France did.
I will say this about America. Theaters have been open everywhere except little pockets. Like San Francisco hasn't opened, LA County hasn't opened, New York hasn't opened, but Orange County has been open.
Places with people.
Yeah. San Diego County has been open. Orange County has been open. A lot of places all over the country have been open and been showing movies. Yep. And I have not heard about one movie theater being a hotspot. I think our industry leaders at NATO, we'll talk about this some other time, but did you guys know NATO isn't the North Atlantic Treaty Organization I'm referring to? It's the National Association of Theater Owners. They decided to co-opt that name. So there will be times when I'm talking about, oh, I was on a NATO call. And people are like, you were on a NATO call? And I'm not that NATO. But the National Association of Theater Owners have done like a really great job with these standards that movie theaters have to uphold. And I think we're ready to open. I wish it was a little safer like out there, because I think people, especially in Kern County, are taking the fact that we're in the red zone to mean we're free. And boy, it has been a disaster zone here. I'm glad you're up in San Jose, because it is nasty here. But yeah, I mean, we can be safe, and I think everyone should go back out to the movies if you like movies, especially with certain companies here in town that shall go nameless, who are doing private showtimes, and we've already sold a few of these, where you can buy for $100 an entire auditorium to watch a movie. I have 2 movies coming up this weekend where just 2 people, have paid $100 to be alone in the theater to watch Tenet and the New Mutants. So I'm like, more power to you. I want that cash.
Yeah, you want that cash, and that's honestly, if there was a movie out worth me watching in the theater, then I might consider something like that. Like if it was something where I was like, oh shit, I want to see Spider-Man 3 is going to have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in it for no reason, and Danny Glover is going to show up for no reason. Like it's just everybody's going to be in it. Then
Danny Glover as his Predator 2 character.
Yeah, as. Donald Glover, not Danny Glover. I
didn't even put that together. That's awesome. That was a nice slip after all the racism I threw out earlier.
So finally, we got all of our bases covered. If there was something coming out I could see myself going like, I'd spend a couple extra bucks to feel safe and go, and also no one's gonna be in the theater fucking bugging me.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
So, hooray for that. So hopefully everyone stays safe. And it's been a stressful week, but I'm glad I had, again, this Star Trek discussion to look forward to. Thanks again to our pals at Canoddle Studios.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for doing this. Yeah.
I still didn't make an email address for us, but I'll go ahead and make that, and some socials for us. But like I said, our friends at Canoodle will be putting this up. We'll have it on our normal spots with James, and we will see you all next week. James, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No. Thank you so much. It's been, what is this, episode 14?
14, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Damage reports. And next week we will be watching the next time we do this. I'll have to say that because I might be busy next Thursday. We'll be talking about Discovery episode 2.
And if we have any new viewers, if you have any questions for us about Star Trek or anything pop culture related, send it in, and Canoodle will facilitate that with us. But until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm James.
And we will see you later. Baby!